up on. So like, what are some of the common errors made specifically in this discovery phase, and what are your suggestions on how to avoid these mistakes?
That's very tough as a question. I mean, fairly complicated, that question. And I honestly say that you got to get a collective understanding and learn from a lot of people who have done this for a period of time. So you got to read a lot.
Right.
But here's the reason why discovery is fairly intricate and complicated and nuanced. The reason why this is because, well, you are trying to figure out a solution set that works in an unknown realm. So there are biases, cognitive biases. You are dependent a lot on intelligent design and asking the right questions in this phase. What happens is if you are delivering, the presupposition or premise or assumption when you're delivering something is that you have a goal, that this is what you're building and you have a backlog. So you can just go away and, different software engineers would take different amount of time, but it's fairly straightforward because the process has been defined. Yes, there are complications, something would break and there would be bugs, but it's still nearly not as complex as like going into the unknown and trying to like peep into people's brains and understand what problems they have and how you can solve them, right?
Got it. Okay.
And then when you're scaling again, you have already proven something. Now it's really about how can you optimize. It becomes a lot more of an optimization problem. Discovery as a phase is like, you are trying to find out. I'd like one of the CEOs that I was listening to was putting it as, you want to find out a large constitution, which basically is a very large group of people who share a common problem. So you're looking for problems, but a large group of people should have that problem, and you should have ideas of solving it in a unique way, right? So it kind of steps in the territory of critical thinking, design thinking, and you need to really zoom in and look at a big picture and zoom out. Now, I'll refer to a professor of Harvard University who recently passed away, I think in February before all this lockdown. His name is Clay Christensen, Professor Clayton Christensen. He has a framework called Jobs to be Done, which basically is, what is the job that your group of users are trying to accomplish? And in his book, he talks about multiple different pieces of research. And one of the very, very easy to understand use cases is about McDonald's, the restaurant food chain, doing research on their milkshakes, right? And they're seeing, when do they sell? Who are the customers, right? You're trying to understand why is something a pattern in your data, if you will, right? And so they find out that there's a lot of sales in the morning, in the beginning of the day, right? And when they look at it from that perspective and they look at their internal data, they see that it doesn't really sell throughout the day, sells a lot in the morning, and that's the bulk of their revenues.
Interesting. Okay.
Now, the reason why that is because people who are driving to work are buying this. Now, this kind of opens up a door where you are now competing against a banana or an apple with your milkshake, right? Because what can you travel and eat? It's no longer you're competing with KFC because that is irrelevant.
Yeah.
So that's the part where people miss out. The biggest challenge is like, we as humans have inherent biases which we don't really agree with, right? A few things that I wrote down, I guess, is that we think that we are user archetypes. We think that we are the user. I have the problem, so I'll solve it, and everyone else has the same problem. They'll use it. Wrong. It just falls flat. We don't step out of the building enough. Like any good product leader will send their team out to meet their customers and talk, because you need to see their perspective, watch what they're doing. And they might not be doing the things that you think you do in certain ways, right? We don't ask the right questions. A lot of times we ask poor research-based leading. I mean, if you look at any survey, you would see that there are leading questions. If you go and read and see if the survey is giving you some premise, some assumption, and saying, oh, will you use this? Will you use this if it's $20 or $50 or something? Well, it is assuming you will use it in the first place.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay anything to say, yes, I will use it, but you will never, right?
Yeah.
So you have to ask the questions in a way that opens up these assumptions and figures out if logically you have the problem that is bad enough and you're willing to pay for it. And there's only one way to do it, like how they show in the movie Wolf of Wall Street, if you've seen it, right?
Yeah.
This part of sell me a pen. It's like, take my number. Do you have the pen? Here's the pen. Now give me the money, right? So you have to literally put the person in the spot to now know whether they're going to pay or not, right?
Yeah.
Anyone can say yes, right? They would inherently not want to mess you up. we associate with our ideas. We fall in love with them. And
Yeah.
that's like, oh, I have gone through this myself with my startup. I don't want to change it. And then I'm losing money, bleeding money. It's not good enough. We ask our users what solutions do they need. That's also another fallacy where no, they can only say what they're doing, what their frustrations are, what their values are, and then we need to deduce, right?
Right.
So it's a lot of work around things that we think are fluffy. And you're like, oh, what, soft skill, fluffy, whatever. And
Yeah.
I know this is how the customer will do it. Let me push it out. And lo and behold, no one has bought your product. So those are some of the main areas. Like, it's inherently challenging. It's inherently complex. You need to work with design. You need to question your assumptions, go with an open mind. And you need to like always go with the idea that I don't know. Maybe let me experiment and find out. Right. So that's why